I know some snipers.
Yeah.
I know one dude very well that was a sniper.
Well, I mean,
that's got to be a weird thing, man, to be look at someone from a distance and make them disappear from Earth. Blimp. From a distance. You know, that's what it is. I mean, that's what being a sniper is. You're not there to fucking go win a target contest.
You ain't playing pinball.
Yeah, you're there to peck people off that they want to kill from a distance.
You're there to evaporate people's heads.
Yeah, you explode their brain.
Yeah, you're a widow maker. You're out there fucking making kids grow up without their dad. You're out there fucking making it so that like for the rest of their lives, there's going to be sentimental moments where a guy looks at a grainy picture of the person whose face you just turned to jelly and bone fragments. For the rest of their life, they're going to be looking at this picture being like, man, I wonder what my dad was like. I bet he was pretty fucking cool. Oh, guess what? You're not going to know. His fucking head looks like a goddamn a tomato that fell off a car. His head splattered everywhere. That's it. And a professional did that who got trained in a fucking camp designed to teach people to do that in the most precise way possible. It's crazy, man.
It's amazing when you break it down like that. When you look at it for what the actual physical act of it is, instead of looking at it as a patriotic American who supports everything that we do overseas and, you know, put a fucking flag on your window that says, God bless our troops. You know, instead of just looking at it analytically, not even like casting a blame.
Just describing it.
You just describe it. It becomes insanity. It becomes a point where people are angry at you and they will say, you're talking shit about the American soldiers and the U.S. Army. Well, you actually not even. You don't even have to.
Yeah.
All you have to do is just describe what's happening. You don't have to talk any shit. When you describe what's happening, the reality of the details is so horrific that people will interrupt you with excuses.
Sure.
They'll interrupt you. All you have to do is say what's happening, not even cast blame. Just describe it accurately.
Well, what you're doing there, is you're walking through the laser in the museum that makes the fucking door shut in front of the diamond. You know, it's like people have these tripwires in their brains where the moment you start talking about just the stuff we've been talking about now, you're hitting a fucking you're hitting some conditioning that's been intentionally put there. Because if it's not there, then you know the country can't function as an empire. I mean, you've got to have, if you're going to run an empire, the population has got to have deep and intense admiration for the military force, because if they don't, then the military force isn't going to function, because the military force is made up of the population.
But it becomes, at a certain point in time, you have to wonder, when does the military force realize these guys that are paying you absolute shit money, guys that we have to do foundations for, we have to do benefits for, you know, for traumatic brain injuries, you know, like people have to like help and contribute. That should, to me, when I found out that they need money for traumatic brain injuries for hospitals to deal with these guys when they come back overseas with these horrible injuries, the first thing I thought is, man, how is that possible they let that become an issue? How much would that cost in comparison to how much fucking money they're making over there? How much would it cost? And who's making money? How about the fucking people that are making all the equipment?
People selling the guns, man.
The people that make the air conditioning machines. They're spending billions of dollars on air conditioning over there. You know, they have giant tents that they're fucking air conditioning. There's a lot of money. You're telling me they don't have any money to spend on traumatic brain injury? Shouldn't they like invest in the best medicine possible with the smartest scientists? How much would that cost? Would that be cost prohibitive? If that's cost prohibitive, then that means a fucking war should be cost prohibitive. You shouldn't be investing in a war that you can't take care of your fucking soldiers after it's over. What the fuck is that? That's like driving across the country with just enough money for gas and no money for food.
Oh, it's the most fucked up thing ever, man. It's like, and that is the real sickening thing about it, is whenever you run into people who are soldiers, like that guy, there was a coolest fucking guy at the Hermosa show we did, man, who like said he listened to your podcast, and like he was like a special forces guy, and he was fucking cool, man. And every time I run into those people, they're cool in an authentic way where, you know, you could be good friends with these people, you could trust these people.
You have to have a tremendous character to get through either special forces, the Green Berets. You know, say what you will about someone, you know, being you know, a soldier, who's you know, a puppet of a giant corporation, whatever. To be like a special forces soldier, you need to be a bad motherfucker, period.
Yeah, you do, man. And those people are like they're some of our best people. Yeah. They really, really are. They're some of our best fucking people. So to send them off to bullshit wars where they're getting
Exactly.
fucking liquefied instead of using them for real purpose, for something, for like really building the country up and really do like for in the inevitable event where some shit is going to happen and we're going to need them for a real thing. You know, to send them, to waste them for these fucking politicians who are the real puppets of the corporations, to fucking send these heroes off to get their faces blown off in some country that they don't need to be, man. That is beyond evil. That's some reptilian, vampiric, weird shit, man.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's if you know, if they were eating people instead of just killing them, if every person that died they ate, we would be horrified.
That's
but
right.
because everybody just dies somehow or another, it doesn't seem like they're getting killed by monsters.
No.
But they are. They're being killed by psychological monsters. They're being killed by people who are willing to kill people in order to profit. And it's really that simple. And it doesn't seem like it should be possible in 2011, but that's the business that they're in. The guy who works at the fucking butcher shop, the guy who works at the slaughterhouse, okay? Do you think that guy at a certain point in time, don't you think he gets used to killing cows? The fuck yeah, he does. That's his job. But if you had to go there today and like you just were alone with the cow and all this machinery, and then there was like a fucking manual that told you exactly how you'd pull the cow into this and lead him into this spot and then send the piston through his fucking brain and then hook him up and then gut him, you would be so freaked out at the whole process.
Worst day of my life.
Because you're not used to it. Because it's not a normal part of your life.
Yeah. Meanwhile, so these people are just used to it. It just makes sense to them. And
it's a normal part of their life.
It's a normal part of their life, man. It's like when you hear about the friends of Bush that got all those deals in Afghanistan, all the contractors and shit who had like and how much they charge for work out there. They charge like insane money for this stuff. And you realize, oh, this is just the act of war. It's just a way to test out some new technology and to get a lot of people some work and make a lot of people really rich.
Fuck yeah. Incredibly rich. And the idea that everybody, people say there's no way that people would go to war just for money. And I'm like, there's no way they wouldn't.
Yeah.
There's no way they wouldn't. If they had to sacrifice a few thousand people here or there to make untold trillions amount of dollars.
That is what it is, too.
Yeah.
And that's funny, because if it was like, let's say there was just a group of like robed demonic magicians that lived in some giant black tower, and they're like, we need 5,000 of your strongest and bravest men. We're going to sacrifice them at the top of the tower, and from their blood we will reap great energy. You'd be like, fuck you. That's the evilest thing ever. But if they're like, we got to send our troops over there to defend and fight for our country, suddenly you're like, oh yeah, it totally makes sense. Go ahead and do that.
They got to fight for your freedom.
War pigs, man. Listen to fucking, what is that? Ozzy Osbourne. He sums it up perfectly in that song.
Yeah. Why the war machine keeps turning.
Yeah.
It is a war machine. And that's something that, people have warned us about from the beginning of time. That there's, people that are in charge, they're like everything. They're going to eventually get drunk with power, and they're going to lead you in some terrible direction, and all corruption evolves. And if it's not checked, it gets stronger and stronger. And all you have to do is just go back to the Kennedy assassination, go back to Lyndon Johnson, and go back to Richard Nixon and Watergate, and they're all crooks.
Yeah.
They've always been crooks, and no one got caught. A few along the way. Nixon, a few guys got popped for a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But for the most part, everybody got away with everything. The people who drafted up the Northwoods document, they didn't go to jail. Whoever the fuck shot Kennedy, it was Lee Harvey Oswald. He acted alone.
Yep.
Sure he did.
Totally.
Yeah, all those people that heard bullets coming from behind them, they're just crazy. Yeah, they're just silly people. There was fucking probably like 5 or 6 dudes with guns. You think they got to rely on one guy? And do you think that one guy really, really was on his own, just a lone nut?
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Which is why when you see John McCain pretty much directly telling Rand Paul that yes, with this bill, if someone is a threat to the security of the United States, John McCain, this is from the person who fucking chose Sarah Palin as his vice president. So that's how fucked up this man is. When you hear him saying, yeah, we can indefinitely arrest United States citizens who are a threat to the security of this country, you have to ask, well, what is John McCain's definition of security? I know what mine is. What's John McCain's definition of the security of this country? Because I think it's wildly different from my idea and your idea and from most people's idea of the security of the country. I think for John McCain, the security of the country means that the corporations are able to function without getting disturbed by people who have the gall or audacity to say that the way that wealth is distributed right now is unfair and is fucking up, is basically eating away and eroding the foundations of what this country is supposed to be about. I think fucking McCain would very much like to take those people and put them in some indefinite detainment, if he could. And eventually, maybe it won't be McCain. Maybe it won't be this year. Maybe when this bill passes, it'll be 15 years before it happens. But eventually, people will just start disappearing. People will vanish in the middle of the night.